The biggest single lesson that I learned from my mission was that you feel so much closer to Heavenly Father when you're obedient, and that if you're not obedient, the Spirit can't really teach through you. So obedience is really the key to having a successful mission.
How the gospel can change people's lives.
How the gospel could change people's lives forever.
The Lord does work after you have faith, but He requires that you have faith.
I think it was hard work, and that nothing comes easy, and that you have to work really, really hard to accomplish the things that Heavenly Father wants you to do.
To rely completely on the Lord and work your hardest, but He's the one that really does the work.
Faith in the Lord, that without trusting in Him, it's really, really difficult to accomplish His work. But when we turn ourselves over to Him and trust in Him and live worthily, miracles can indeed happen.
People, us, imperfect humans that we are, we can be instruments in the hand of God. And when we're living our lives according to the commandments, and when we're listening for the Spirit, we can become an instrument. And there were times when I couldn't speak Italian to save my life, but there were times when the Spirit was strong, and when I was doing everything I could to be capable of listening and hearing the Spirit, that the Lord put words in my mouth, and He made me an instrument, as imperfect as I am. And I thought that was probably the coolest thing I learned on mission.
That I could receive revelation and make real change through the Spirit by following God's plan and bringing the gospel to others.
Love of everyone and forgiveness of yourself for your faults, because there's a lot of people helping you, and the Spirit is so strong that it doesn't matter what level you're at, you increase.
It's hard, a lot of sacrifice, and you have to sacrifice on every level, emotionally, personally, not just living conditions or things like that. It's the length of your day that you have to work. It's more of an internal sacrifice, and then you realize in the end that it's not really a sacrifice at all, that it's you learning to walk on a better path.
The language was very hard, very difficult. And the routine was challenging, but you learned to discipline yourself. That was another benefit of serving.
At times, missions are very hard. At times it was very hard, but other times it was wonderful.
I remember one area we rode bikes 3 hours a day just to get to and from the area. And sometimes you get rained on, you get door slammed in your face. Emotionally, it was so challenging the first month because of the abuse. I gained 20 pounds because I used food as a crutch. And you make a change in people's lives, and it just has a profound impact on their lives. And you see that across multiple lives, and it's like, I had a huge impact on their lives. And like it says in the D&C, what's better than that?
It's pretty hard. It's harder than they let on. Dawn to dusk, you're just working, but it's a good feeling when you're, at the end of the day, when you've worked your hardest. It's probably no better feeling, but it's definitely a lot of mileage.
It was hard, but it's also as fun and enjoyable and rewarding as you make it.
It certainly is a lot of work. You get up early, you work late, but when you're doing that, it didn't actually seem hard when I was there. You enjoy it.
When I think of hard, I think of manual labor. So no, it wasn't hard. It just took great dedication, and that was the joy of it, to dedicate yourself full-time to that cause.
had learned so much while I was on my mission and had so many different experiences that even today I think about and I remember, and I would have missed out on all those experiences and opportunities.
Well, I would have missed out on incredible experiences. My testimony would have been weaker. I wouldn't have been able to make some of the wonderful lifelong friends that I made while I was on my mission. I wouldn't have gotten to know the Russian people or their culture.
Probably would have never left my hometown, and probably would have stayed right there and worked with my dad and my brother, and would have not been able to have any of the experiences that I had. I probably never would have finished college. Probably never would have had the experiences that I've had in my life.
I wouldn't have learned a language that I loved. I wouldn't have come to know wonderful people that I enjoy. I wouldn't have the experiences that would help me be a better person and a better mother. Probably wouldn't have met my husband because of the timing, the way everything worked out. So.
It probably would have been very, very different. I probably would have married a non-member of the church. I would have not been active when I was younger, and who knows what would have happened if I hadn't gone on my mission.
I think that I would have had to do all the struggling while I was married, and I think that would have been way more difficult.
I would not have nearly the faith that I have today. I don't know that I would have personally witnessed that God is really a God of miracles, and I'm grateful that I have that knowledge.
Absolutely the turning point in my life. Yeah, I wouldn't be here. It was probably, well, at the end of that 2 years, I could say I was standing on firmer ground than I had ever known possible. So, yeah, it was definitely the best 2 years.
It's the only time that you could learn these experiences that you may not learn, you know, as an adult, because once you get married and have children, you can't spend as much time, you know, focusing on the gospel and spiritual experiences, and you'll probably have a lot of more spiritual experiences as a youth than sometimes you do as an adult.
Some days it was good, and there was a lot of hard days. I think it was the best preparation for the rest of my life, and I wouldn't trade it for anything.
It's definitely the most spiritual and the most educational and the most growth promoting time.
I think it was the best 2 years in the gospel, yes. And since then I feel like there's other aspects that are just as important. Having an eternal family and a mission helps prepare you for that.
At this time, there have been other times that have probably been better as life changes go on, but I loved it, and I highly recommend it, and you should go.